I spoke last week about the effect of the Eucharist. Is that the word correct? And it's not just a wafer you stick on your tongue and you say Hail Mary and off you go and nothing happens. I wish I knew people, because new people, you know, a lot of you have got better, but you may have something still in you. You want to come sit here a minute?
I'd love to.
So, and you may have something in you. And Pombo. Okay? I don't think you need that. Somebody will hold that for you.
Thank you.
I'm not sure I'm going to waste the wine on it. I'll drink it later. I try to make things light-hearted, so it's not hypnotic. No, I used to be professional at that, and I know the difference between an induced hypnotic behavioral factor of exorcism. But the devil is very disturbed at mirth and happiness. See? So I don't mind being light-hearted, because he hates light-heartedness. Hates it like a poison. Isn't that right? Now look. Now see, now this is ordinary bread. How would I say this without being braggadocious? I have a gift. There was a time when somebody would say to me, "Would you baptize me?" I would feel, who am I to baptize a person? I felt awkward. There was a time when I was a young boy, I would think of, the thought of Buddha came into my mind, the thought of Moses, when I would ponder something on occasion. And God, neither one of those affected me. Now you would think God would touch me. But when the word Jesus came in, I felt touched when I was a boy. I could never understand why none of those others bothered me. Not even God. But Jesus, and I'm Jewish, I'm 15. Why would that bother me more? Or touch me? And as I proceeded with my interest, which was hypnosis, which was the next thing to magic tricks like this. See, it was magic interested me, but I always thought there was real magic. There is. The real magic is healing, or dividing the Red Seas, but I don't have any Red Seas here, so I can't do that. But the real magic is healing. Because when you take a person who can't walk, can't see, has cancer, and a little belief, something called belief, which is not well understood. I mean, you can believe a piece of bread sits here, but that's true. You believe that's it. But there's a certain kind of belief that's not intellectual, that has to do with God.
That's the magic.
Yeah, that's the magic word. And when that belief is invoked and accepted, magic happens. Real magic happens. When you look, I don't know how to raise the dead. You're dead enough for me right now, being alive. But it seems I have something that came to me in the last few years, but I don't feel uncomfortable about causing exorcisms and bringing about a brand new state of health. I could do it for her, but she has no faith. She is dead of faith. She's too busy looking for love from everybody. And as long as you're looking for love from everybody, rubbing people's feet, and, making a person feel special so you suck a little energy from them, you're as good as dead. I'm telling you, Aunt Marion, you're a naughty girl. Yeah, I just told you. You're always looking for approval and love, and you have this sweet, loving person, and everybody loves you, and people feel sorry for you, and after a while, that your sickness breeds a sympathy for you. My wife is here, and she has developed a little limp, favoring one of the legs. And I said, if you don't favor that leg, it'll get strong. But she favors the leg, and she doesn't know that when she walks like a little bit of a drunken sailor, that people have sympathy for her. She draws a sympathy. See, I know how all that works, but she hasn't listened to that yet. I keep saying, walk straight, and she can walk straight. But then she forgets. And then she walks side to side like it's on the board of a ship.
But sympathy, I've noticed that with my being tripped up, some people will open the door for you, and you can tell they're just being polite.
Yes.
And there's others that are like, oh, poor you.
Yes.
And that would bug me until I understood.
That's what keeps you sick.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what keeps you sick. And what makes them feel good. But then one person's opened the door for you because they're gracious. Another opens the door for you because they feel sorry for you.
Yeah, and you could definitely tell the difference.
You can. Now, you've had several exorcisms, but you've got one in there still. So, this is blessed bread because I touch it.
That's right.
And you eat it and see what happens. See what happens when you eat that. It'll be a little hard to swallow at first because it's going to go to the right place. When you eat bread, when you eat that bread, it goes to the right place. See? Now, I'll talk while you're suffering. All right? I explain to my friends here. All of you eat wrong. There's not a person in this room that eats as you should. Because when you eat as you shouldn't, which is you eat the food that you shouldn't, the forbidden fruit, it goes to a different place and supports the pride of life.
Roy, even when there's a grateful attitude and a thankfulness about eating.
No. Oh Lord, I'm thankful for giving me this food. I thank you for nourishing my body. It's really delicious.
That's really
Ah. How do you feel?
okay.
Feel better now?
I do.
Now, when you eat food, it's got to be the right food. When I say the right food, it's got to be from God's table. Raw. As raw as, look, if you're in a concentration camp, you can't help what you get, so you'll be fine. You'll just be fine. You have no choice. And it's not a sin. When you eat at somebody's home, who's an infidel, or a politician, they're about the same, one and the same. And you're invited, you eat what is given to you. Not a big deal. That's the proper thing. But on your own, when you eat, you must be very careful Now, even if you eat the best food, if you enjoy it too much, if you eat all the raw foods and all the good food, but you're not repentant. I'll give you an idea. I'm pretty hungry, I think I'll eat this.
Mice on the floor are going to have a feast too.
That's all right, that's all right. I'm going to make a point, which you don't think is important, is that food can go to two different places mentally. That we've got one stomach, unless you're a cow. You have 4 stomachs. But food can go to 2 places. So when you go to the refrigerator, say, or when you make your dinner, there's got to come a point in your life where you realize that food carries a curse of the original sin. It carries a curse. For example, if I was to, look, I'm a very good hypnotist. You don't know how good I am at that. If you have nice people here, but you wouldn't know that I hypnotize you when I do. You won't feel any different, but you won't be owned by God, you'll be owned by me. And the only reason why I can do it is because you're already owned by somebody else. Other people in your life have conditioned you since a child. So they've installed behaviors, untoward behaviors, bad behaviors, silly behaviors, hypocritical behaviors, covering up the behaviors that you know are implanted, but you don't know how to cover. You don't know how to deal with it, so you cover it up and do the best you can. And everybody loves you, but when everybody loves you, they make you worse because they're nurturing what is worse in you, not really correcting it. They are supporting it when they like you. And you walk around with a face and people do like you, but you really secretly hate them for liking you. You understand that, don't you? I saw that look. There's such complexity in living life that most of you will die never finding it. Most human beings, narrow is the way, a few of those find it. But if Jesus was here and was on radio, we might have a chance. Not everybody, because not everybody would love him. They have a choice to live the life they were born into, which is sin. And in sin, you can be a slave or a bully, and you can enjoy that life. You think, as a slave, you love people, but you're only loving the bully. And to keep and sort of pacify him and think you're manipulating him and making him a nice person. And then you get rewarded by the bully. If you're really a big enough slave, he'll love you and reward you and put you in his cabinet. I don't mean in the cabinet in the wall, I mean in the cabinet in the government. See? But I hope that I can today get you to see something very, very profound and very, very simple. So simple, it's hard. Now, food is the problem of every person on earth. Whether you have very little food or you would have too much food, food carries with it a suggestion, a curse, and a blessing. You have to eat, but you don't have to live to eat. So that's one way of putting it. You eat to live, not live to eat. And you live to eat because it fills an emptiness that was caused by the original, eating the original food, which God says, thou shalt, you can eat all the fruit in this garden, even the tree of the fruit of the tree of life. But not that one. But it's rebellion, so there's a tendency in all of us to have a little angst, a little dissatisfaction about life, something missing. You don't understand what it is, but your brokenness the day you were born, because you were born to a broken parent. and the broken parent appears as you emerge from your fetal state and become conscious and see what stupid asses your parents are. Yeah, you're all stupid asses, don't worry. You don't even know you're stupid asses, you ruin your kids, but you were ruined as a kid, and so because of the lineage, the generational flow, so that through one sin, death through sin, entered the human race. Food. Food is the catalyst so let me just stop for a minute and show you what I could do. I could take you in your apartment with your kids and visit you one day, screw with your brain, which you wouldn't see it, and then be nice to you and say, but you're lucky to have an apartment like this because that water has everlasting life. It's a lie. That water hasn't got it, but I can convince you that it does. Because you have a monkey brain. And then your monkey brain is, you're already hypnotized, you don't have a good life, that's why you're stuck in that apartment. You're doing the best you can like every other jerk. I don't mean to you a jerk. Just the way I'm speaking. And say, if you drink a glass of water and leave a glass of water, half of that glass, don't drink it all, always drink half. Also a lie. And stand on your head. You never want to leave this apartment because it's the only place where this water comes to the ground. You believe that. 20 years later, I will knock on your door. Wait a minute, I'm standing on my head. Yeah. So I wait for a minute, you open the door. I was just doing my yoga. But you don't know I made you do that. You're in denial. You think the thoughts I planted in you are your very own. They're not. No one has an original thought in their head. Even I don't. Because thoughts don't originate in your head. They originate from the world around you, or the world inside you, which is God, right? So if I'm speaking, I'm not speaking with an original idea. He's original. He gives me my thoughts. He gives me my words. So I don't originate anything, do I? So I'm the agent of origination. But if I'm wicked, I have a power over the people who are not connected to their Creator yet. They're born into sin, they're little boys, they're little girls, and they get screwed. And once you're screwed, you remain screwed. It's called being born in sin, and then you're typecast, so the various different kinds of people, depending upon your suggestions, like I could have made that glass of water and standing on your head into something different. So you have a different, yeah.
There's no way to undo
No.
the failure
No.
that you have.
No, you're here because you don't know how to undo it. You're here because you don't even know what it is you've been made to undo. So each one of you has a way of life. Some of you hate food, some of you love food. So the ones that hate food will drink themselves to death, and that's enough. That provides enough nourishment to pickle them so they don't die. They can sit, in the freezing cold, and they almost become, what the mortician does to people. They formaldehyde. Yeah. But the point is, every behavior has something to do with sin, and every behavior that isn't according to the will of the Creator, the natural flow of understanding, so that you can't do anything wrong. You're living in a state where there's a right and a wrong, and when you're on the wrong side, you can't do anything right at all. everything you do is flawed. Even if it's the best you can do, it's still flawed. Connie does things like that. She gave me a picture recently. I've been saying for years and years and years, I would just pick it out. It's not a big thing. She undermines me sometimes. She doesn't see it. She's my friend. She's a good woman, don't get me wrong. It's a little flaw. I'm saying I need a picture for my books and things. And she gives me all the wrong pictures and said, this is the best, but she holds the one back and all of a sudden the new one appears years and years or years later. I could have used it a long time ago. In other words, undermining. In other words, she is the best at what she does. You're the best at what you do. But there's a little irritation that sort of stops me sometimes and doesn't let me do my best. And that's the way she has been controlling me. She had that picture all along. I said, there's some good pictures of me. She said, well, that's all there is. Here's the good picture, here's a good picture, here's a good picture for the... But she kept the really good one, and all of a sudden it appears. And all of a sudden, but the reason why it appears, she wants to, she needs to be a little corrected on that. I get that. She said, please correct me now, I don't feel comfortable with this. I know you. But
I know there's something in there.
I know.
I know there is.
She's the best artist. I couldn't find anything better. So I have to put up with the crap. You understand that? And I can jive.
God bless him for that.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying I can jive with you and play with you, because it's I'm not being mean. So I just need to bring that out. See? So there's little undermining things. My whole staff is like that. They need perfecting. What I do is 100% for you. I do 100%. Everything I do is right for you. And I care for you. I don't care whether you give me money. I don't care about anything. I just know I want to do the right thing. I don't ask for anything back. If you want to give something, you do. And that's perfect. I don't hold a tin cup. And it's got to be perfect for me to be believable. Now you say, how can you be perfect? I'm becoming perfect. And you're on your way to becoming perfect, but you haven't, many of you haven't really passed the threshold. Mm-hmm. You're coming up to it. You're moving towards it, but you've got to cross the threshold. Mm-hmm. And then, you can't do anything wrong. You could no more do wrong than you could do right before. There's no halfway. Being perfect as your Father in heaven means become, or the word becoming is, I'm not sure it's a verb. Is it a verb?
To become.
To become, is that right, Wendy? It's a verb, a becoming thing, it's a doing thing. It's an ongoing thing. But the becoming is always, every moment you have the opportunity to do wrong, you do right. And you can see the wrong and you can see the consequences of the wrong before you do the wrong. And you can look at it and say, no, thank you. It may be a little pull on me. If my house burns down, I'm still going to do it right. If nobody loves me, I'm still going to do it right. If I lose all my money, I'll do it right. If I lose all my friends, I'll do it right. But you don't think like that.
There's often a setup before that. Something happens before that, and then...
Always, always. But always the moment of truth is quiet inside you. And in the beginning you might have a little hesitation because you know there's loss. But then after you do it, you don't find there's loss, there's freedom. It's a very strange phenomenon. And so what I'm coming to is this bread. I'm hungry, I'm sorry. Now you feel better?
I do feel calm.
Yeah. Had a little exorcism, didn't you?
I think so.
But not much.
Not much.
Not much. It was just something changed. Now, coming to the bread. Eat this remembering me. Drink this. I think I... Yeah, I feel better now. I've got to make this lighthearted. It's not going to be serious.
It's not even open.
No, it's not.
What do you say?
Open, it's a street.
You know what? The thing is, to make it dramatic is to make it hypnotic. You do not do this in an atmosphere of drama. It works just as well, but the drama could be a charlatan producing the same effect because he can create an atmosphere of drama and people get caught up in the emotionality of it.
It's the wrong.
And you get the same behavior but not the same result. Where would you get this information? Where's this information? Anywhere in the world. But if I was more entertaining, I think I am being a little entertaining right now, but it's not intended. If I was more dramatic and say lots of wonderful words, but I'm talking to you about the nitty-gritty of what is expected of you. What can you do to become perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect? And I'm talking about it. Something to do with food. So, go back to my story on the glass of water. I can just as easily do it with anything. And then 20 years later goes by, 30 years later goes by, all of a sudden he has a whole group of people doing the same thing. He's an apostle. He's feeling much better, and he's actually feeling better because he's really believing that he's getting better, but he's not. And he's becoming addicted to the water, and he doesn't dare leave his apartment. And his apartment's become a little shrine for everybody to come in, say, look, what happens? I'm standing on my head, look how much, I'm staying younger, I don't get sick. It could be because he's relieved of anxiety in a wrong way.
Wrong belief.
Yeah, wrong belief system. It's nice of you to believe that what you're doing the right thing and everybody loves you for it. There's a certain energy you get from those people who love you. But you're also making them followers. So you have a standing on your head, drinking a glass of water, religion. There's a story, just an anecdote. It's a lady who made dinner, every couple of weeks she'd make roast beef. And she cut the ends of the roast beef and before she put it in the oven. So the little girl asked her, why do you cut the ends off of that? She said, I don't know. I said, my grandmother, my mother did it. Let's ask her. And so they asked grandmother, why did you cut the ends off that roast beef and cook it? He said, I don't know. I just, I have to ask great-grandmother. So I said, why did you do that? She said, well, it wouldn't fit in the pan. You see that we just... You understand conditioning and inheritance? You inherit food. You inherit sin. Mindless. Can't help it. You just, without question, you cut the ends off the meat. Without question, you go to church and he preaches you, and thank God, Christian churches preach the right thing. But they do not, but then they give you the right behavior, and they give you the Eucharist, and you put it in your mouth and you drink a glass of wine, and you don't even, the guy next to you's got AIDS and you have to drink out of the same bottle, out of the same glass, which is not a good idea. So you can see how it passes from generation to generation and nobody gets better. But you have nicer behavior. If I was to come out in an alley, on one side there's a church, on one side there's a bar with rowdy people, they're both conditioned. So which ones I would prefer to come out, empty out after a service or after getting drunk? I would prefer the better behaviored people, but they're not any different. And that's why we've lost our country. Because Christians are no different. They're just, their behaviors on the surface, but they're not any different when they deal with their kids. And they have the same divorce rate, and they die from the same diseases, except they have a nice behavior. And everybody loves them the way they are, so they get worse the way they are, but they think they're getting better when they're getting worse. And the more they're loved, the more they're exalted. The more they're exalted, the more they have the power to get others to love them. So they become the deacon or the pastor of the church. And then you look very carefully behind the scenes, he's having an affair with somebody. Because the higher you get, the more, power is an aphrodisiac. That's what happens. Understanding me?
I am.
I don't know why I'm telling you all this. I'm getting hungry. I'm going to eat my own bread in a minute. But you can sit down. You feel better now, don't you?
Thank you very much.
I think that's all you needed.
Okay. Thank you.
So what I'm saying to you, that you can eat the right food and still not be a better person. There's got to be some history, some mystery to the history about how you eat that first bite of good food from eating bad food. First of all, there's a category. Now, if you have a breakdown society and you eat out of cans and you have to eat a whole bunch of rotten food, that's not a big deal. Because that's understandable. That's not a sin. Even if you have been saved, all you got is rice and white rice, and the rice isn't good for you, you'll still be fine. If you have to eat muck and be degraded, you'll never be degraded. But everybody else, you can put people in a prison camp and give them bad food and treat them bad, and keep them awake and rob them of sleep, deprive them of sleep. And pretty soon you can actually turn them into communists because you put stress on them they don't know how to deal with it. And eventually they give in and they become communists and they snitch on each other's, on their friends. But the person who has been saved, he can eat all the rotten food, still goes to a good place. See? When I say go to a good place, where's that place? I can't tell you. It's the thing. I believe in the scripture. I've only read it once, and I've never forgotten it. But I think it was in Paul, where he said he had a dream where all these different foods were displayed on a big sheet of some kind, and the voice said to him, "You can eat all these things now." Where Jewish people had kosher, and the way kosher works, it's been a long time since I understood these principles, but Jewish people they won't eat milk and meat, the mother of the calf. There's something uncomfortable about that. They won't eat shellfish because they live off the bottom. So, which says to them, because they didn't have books in those days, books were hard to come by, you'd have to write them off by hand, too expensive for the average person. So the Talmud and the Torah, that was difficult. So they had a code of etiquette called kosher. And so you don't eat shrimp because it lives off the bottom, or shellfish, and it lives off the poop of other creatures. And so that it says it means you don't mix with the wrong kinds of people. It has a symbolic thing that produces a behavior. See, the symbolicness of eating it produces a behavior. There's a key there. Symbolic of something produces a behavior. It means you don't mix with wrong people every time you eat. After a while, the idea of not mixing with the wrong people disappears, and it has the effect of keeping you from wrong people. It becomes a conditioning. But we don't want conditioning. because that's good. You stay away from wrong people and it's better for you, no question, but it doesn't save you. Conditioning can't save you. Conditioning has to go. Because you can't serve two masters. You can't be conditioned by one and expect to be saved by the other. See that?
But Roy, being saved is a lifelong process, right?
No, like being saved is immediate. It comes to a point where my friend here, what's your first name again? Diane? Yeah, Diane. Forgive me, I'm that way. Got a lot of people to remember even though I see you a lot. I sometimes forget my own name. So, but it took a while. You had several of those things.
I did. Worse than, this was
This one's
very mild.
Now, let me see. You want to try this?
Oh, it just made my heart start racing. Sure.
Well, close your eyes for a minute. Look at your eyelids.
Mm-hmm.
You've done this exercise before?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you see?
I've done this to myself before.
But
and
I'm doing it.
actually-
But I'm doing it now. There's a difference. It's not a record. It's not a CD anymore. I'm the CD. I'm the CO of the CD.
This is true.
Just see. Be aware of your eyes, like that. Your eyelids. What do you see? Just little light, flashes of light.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I
don't you?
do.
Well, there's no thought there, correct?
Correct.
So now put your right hand by your side and just what you see in the middle of your forehead is transferable because it's light and it has energy. Just see if you can be aware of your right hand and connect the two together so one tingles as the light is in your head, moving as pixels across the screen of your mind. Be aware of your first finger and see if you can deliver that energy to it just by being aware, not having any effort. Can you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does your arm feel light?
Yes.
Let it
yes.
float up. Let it float up then. See, it does by itself. And this is important for me. See, the arm gets lighter. Means your monkey brain is suggestible. And this needs to be suggestible for a very good reason. Because I'm going to make it unsuggestible. So, just imagine it rising up. It gets light, like something's lifting it. See? Up it comes towards your forehead. Faster. 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 Up it comes. And that's control. You are this is not me doing it. You are exercising some control, so that the control, when you're finished, will be automatic. See, in other words, you're taking control of your arm and causing it to lift, whereby other people can cause you to do things similar to this. This is a very simple experiment. The same thing, you can't stop your behavior when someone's talking to you or making you do things or intimidating you. Your behavior, any form of behavior, this is just rudimentary so that you can establish contact, so that the very awareness of your arm and you kind of demanding it to rise by imagining it. But you don't have to have an image of it. You only have to have the awareness of your arm so it obeys you. It goes higher and your head falls forward. Let your head become heavy and fall forward. Let your head feel heavy and fall forward. And your hand goes up towards your arm. Your hand goes up to your head and your head goes towards your arm. Your head falls forward a little bit. I want you to relax a little bit. And I want you to stop struggling. That's the important thing. Stop struggling with anything. And if you do that, then you're able to stop struggling. Because you actually become aware of your arm, and the focus right now is to have control over your body. And that control spreads to everything. So just, your arm is getting lighter, and lighter, and up it comes. It flows upwards. Let it go up, and then it will come toward the middle of your forehead. Okay, that's it. Good. Your breathing's changing. Now what you're doing is standing back from your thoughts. You don't see thoughts, but you can see the outline of your hand. It's sort of like you've got a spiritual hand, a hand within a hand, an arm within an arm, a mind within a mind. But you're looking at the middle of your forehead, and then as you look at the middle of your forehead, you are objective. The real you is looking at your animal you, your flesh you. And that must come under subservience to the real you, and the real you will become subservient to who made you, who gave you consciousness, so that his will passes through the lens of your consciousness, and it infiltrates your behavior and neutralizes all other except what you know is right in your heart. Let your head get heavy and relax. So when you relax and your head falls forward, your consciousness moves back just a little, and you find yourself looking at your brain. That's what the little pixels are running across the screen of your mind. And you're looking at them, but you've left your thoughts behind. So while I'm talking to you, you keep doing that. Will you make your fingers tingle too if you can? And just keep doing it so your hand goes up and your head falls forward, please. Forward, 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 forward. Up comes the hand. Up it comes, up it comes, up it comes. Forward, your breathing is heavy. Now, this is basically a hypnotic state, but it's all right, don't worry. I need to access that brain that's been manipulated by people when you reacted. No more reaction now. Now I can tell you this, I'm talking to your consciousness, your soul, that has light from God. Do you agree that you've been forgiven? Can you see that He's waited for you all these years? Yes. You can see that. Now you can see that because you're separate from your thoughts that will lie to you and tangle you and muddy up the things I'm saying. But it's very clear that I have the authority, the believability, you trust me, and honestly trust me, so do you? Then I know for sure, because I've experienced it, that I've been saved, and I've been saved since the beginning of time. All God was waiting for me to come to Him like you just did. Do you understand that?
Yes,
You feel different now, don't you?
I do.
You do. So now that difference means you are now subject to the Creator and not to the world, ever. You're not to take offense to anybody because they know not what they do any more than you knew how to react. So therefore you don't bother with the little slights and little irritations, and you can drop all the anger. It's called forgiveness. If you've been forgiven, you can just pass that on, play it on. It just don't be so affected by people, places, and things. They can't help themselves. Just look at them that way, as pathetic creatures, but not feel sorry for them. Just be aware that they can't stop themselves doing that to you, so it's okay with you. Okay? Now I want you to take this bread and eat it. Just take a bite and swallow it. This is the Eucharist. You're eating it with a pure heart. So when you eat food, you can just pause for a minute and say, do I really need this food? If it's not good food, if it comes into the forbidden category, like spaghetti and meatballs, I mean, stuff, it's better to eat as much as possible, the food that's from the tree of life, and not turn an apple into strudel. You know what I'm saying? Swallow it now, and it's going to have a different effect on you. It may be a little exorcism. Here's my cross. This is the treatment. How do you feel with this? You feel the breathing, don't you?
I do.
It's like you're approaching a great potentate. When you approach somebody important, you have fear. But the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, right? That's what you're approaching. If there's anything in you can come out now. But there's a transformation taking place. You can feel it, can't you?
Yeah.
You know, you've always been a lover of truth, haven't you? You've always wanted to be. Feel better now? What do you feel?
Like I lost a pound.
That's good. Well, you didn't eat enough bread. Thank you.
Thank you.
You feel better. So you'll go home now, and you don't have to worry about anything. You have a gift, which it means you don't respond to the world, because if you do, you can't serve two masters. You can't respond to the world and do what's right in your heart. It's very simple. I just made that possible. Give me my bread back. Thanks.
Thank you.
Nice, isn't it? That could happen to you.
I could feel it just with her. You're talking to her.
What did she say?
I went through.
She could feel it when you were talking to her.
Good. No. Yeah, give her a new piece. Eat it, eat it. Just have a bite.
Have this piece of bread.
Oh, good.
This has an effect on you, isn't it? See, food goes to a different place when you're aware. And whenever when you eat your food and you go to the refrigerator, if you're overweight, especially, you look at it and say, do I really need this? And so you don't need me there for that. And if you see, what happens when you find salvation, you can actually say no to something you couldn't say no to before. So when you couldn't say no to drink, all of a sudden you say no to it. There's magic there. Or it doesn't have the appeal, because you've been forgiven your guilt. If you're forgiven your guilt, why you drink? You don't need the drink. If you don't have a headache, you don't need an aspirin. That's the Eucharist. All depends, if you have the faith in there, and you know you're being forgiven, and you know what you're being forgiven for, being too nice. Because that's seductive. See, when you're too nice, it means you want you want to influence the way they see you. That's seduction. If you're too nice to people, as a coward, you use your cowardice as a form of super nice, so that you can hoping to influence the bully to like you, and to put a stop to his meanness, to neutralize his meanness. Why would a person that is mean, not be nice to people who are nice to you. The truth of the matter is, you actually make them worse. You actually make them, you actually encourage. So you don't want to manipulate anybody. You don't want to manipulate anybody by meanness. You don't want to manipulate anybody by sweetness and light. Or fear of losing their approval and really secretly hating them, because damned if you get it, because it encourages you to be a slave, and damned if you don't, because you didn't get the approval. There is no way out of the hell on earth. There's no way out of the hell on earth. Now, Brian, you got something in you still. You want to try it?
Sure.
Oh yeah.
It's crumbling apart.
Where's the jam? Well, try that. And just be careful how you put it in your mouth, and be aware. Be aware of what you're doing, and what it's for. See, it's a different. There's something about eating that food with an understanding of the power it has had over the centuries. You can have a genuine repentance. The food is now becoming part of you. The food becomes part of you. It's not the same anymore. See, there's something to this. Oh, sorry, no, don't worry about that. My feet will get saved when I tread on it. Out it comes. What do you say? That's all right. I'm going to have to eat some of that. Keep it. What is this? What is this thing? What happened to you when you were a kid? Can you remember it?
Boy,
May the real person speak.
yeah, no, any part that I can remember, I think it happened before I was even born. I mean, I really do.
That's very interesting.
And I had.
Your mother.
I've talked with you about that before.
Your mother hated your father before you were born.
Oh yeah. And my father hated the because I wasn't expected, and so my father hated the situation, and that fell on me too.
I forgot I was a diabetic. I've got to be careful of this.
So I've known it a long time, and I've had this.
Be lighthearted. Be lighthearted. Be lighthearted. It doesn't like you to be lighthearted.
I know.
See? It doesn't like my mirth.
Yep.
It's the evil thing.
I know.
Come out of him.
Yeah.
Come out. All the way. Let this be the last one. Come on, you're a bit stubborn, aren't you? See? There's two of him. There's two of him.
Oh.
And let psychiatrists and psychologists everywhere see that every person on earth has this in them without exception. Without exception, but you would defend it, so that if you defend it, you make it your friend. And so that you walk around okay. As long as but you can always be doing something wrong and being sorry. Or not being sorry. But until you deal with this, misery and suffering follows you your whole life, and then disease and death. And psychiatry and psychology is no weapon against it. That thing laughs at those people. And medicine, doctors do not understand the root of sin in relationship with all medical problems, almost without exception. Because it's the root where you're separated from the protection of the Creator, the natural protection. If you look at the animals in the wild, I don't see them going to a doctor for a cold. And where would they find it? They're all healthy. They eat each other's DNA. It's more than just nourishment. It's DNA that they're eating each other's living DNA. You cook it, DNA goes away. And not just the vitamins, but vitamins stay and the enzymes get destroyed, and you can make some of your own, and that may ages you quicker because you have to make your own. But it's the DNA that has the secret to it. The animals eat each other even while they're still fighting and breathing. And what do? We sit on our stoves and we cook things that don't need to be cooked. I can understand you might have to, with the way it is, you may have to sear a steak and have it, but it's better to eat, if you're going to eat the steak, which is not the best food to eat, fish is the best, but you can just sear it on both sides in a pan or something, kill the germs, but eat the rest of it because there is no germs in it. Don't eat hamburger that way because you got guts mixed up. See, but I'm just being, you've got to be, you can eat some cooked foods, but it's better to eat it off the tree. What's wrong with it? No, it doesn't have enough flavor in it. It doesn't do something for you.
It doesn't excite you.
It doesn't stimulate you. It doesn't make you forget. It looks like the greater pleasure gives you a more fulfillment, the fulfillment of a fool. And so therefore the sin is to eat more and more and more. The more you eat, the better you feel for a little bit, but the worse you get. And the more you have to eat because you think, well, it made me feel better, I'm looking forward to my next meal. But the looking forward to it is looking away from God. That is where the journey is, whether it's looking forward to the next meal or looking forward to the next success thing you've set up for yourself. It's the looking forward to it is the journey. Is the fulfillment the journey? It's the faith, upside down faith. When you get there and you become a millionaire, you're miserable. So you want another million. Until you're going to throw up when you get the next million. And you feel guilty for having it, you may give it all away. Or there's a big depression and your money disappears and the emptiness appears and you jump off the Empire State Building. Because there's nothing there to fill you with. Come out. Good. He's out, isn't he?
No, there's still some in there.
Ah.
It's still in there.
Oh, well then. Be my guest.
I might need something to wash it down with.
I don't have an opener. I join you. But it actually goes to a different place. When Adam eats the fruit, the forbidden fruit, he swallows it. It has a different metabolic quality and spiritual quality. Actually, it begins to transform downwardly. According to the scripture, old scriptures, it took him 40 days and 40 nights to become earthy as a result of that. So he could tolerate earth food. Yeah.
One of the things what was happening before I even knew it was happening was with the food. I had a feeling I needed to change.
What is it now? Something.
I got it, thank you.
Something.
I don't know if it's hiding, but I did feel something leave. I'm still wiggling a little bit, but I don't know.
What are you crying for?
I don't know. It's just a release.
It's released.
Am I? It's it's always tensed up my left side, and so my left side's still
Your left side is.
still.
Everybody has problems on the left side of their body, right side of brain.
Oh,
That's infected.
yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Well, I don't know if it's fully out, but there's definitely it's lighter.
Better.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh dear. It's a pity you didn't bring a bottle opener.
Oh, that's a twist. It's a twist top. It's real easy.
Oh, yeah, it's open.
I don't know why it didn't come out.
Oh, okay. Would you prefer wine? Well, you see, life should be fun. You know? It should be light-hearted. And the heavy heart is negative, isn't it? You should be able to go through life, even though things are happening to you in a very obtuse way. You know, it shouldn't bother you, it just passes, and you come out the other side. Like, you know, they're like the time machine. Ever see the movie The Time Machine? You see everything changing around in wars and everything, people dying and on the way back, coming back to life again, right? And but you just have to watch it. Be a spectator.
Like the election.
Yeah, be a spectator. Don't have any judgment. Like, you know, have the discernment. You know the difference between discernment and judgment. What your disease is eating the forbidden fruit. It's connected to judgment. It says, you can eat this food, you can eat this. I hate to waste this, I'm going to take an old piece. I'm Jewish, I don't like to waste anything. It says, it doesn't matter. You can eat all the trees, even eternal life, but not this one. And this one has to do with being God. Like the devil wants to be like God. But he cannot be, he has no body and he has no power. He's sort of living in a strange realm where he is bodiless. But so he approaches all of you, even little children, 3 years old. There's a dollar bill on the dad's table. He doesn't know about right and wrong, good and evil, anything like that. But he wants a car, and Dad doesn't want to have the dollar car. Maybe he wants to give him for his birthday or something. But the kid doesn't understand that. There's an impulse that says, why don't you take that dollar? Same thing. And then when he takes the dollar to buy the little car he wants, to what he wants. See, which isn't good for him, but it's what he wants, because he has to have something. And that something is the dividing line between good and evil. And so the evidence of it, his father comes in and says, did you take that dollar? No, Dad. Johnny made me do it. Immediately, the dark side gives him the excuse. You don't even have, your excuses are not your own. And you got to see that. So really, the excuses keep all your problems alive. You're defending your fault. As small as it is, it's big. It's bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And the fault is judgment, king. You're playing role of king and judge. Excuse me. King and judge. And the king and judge state doesn't have a natural support. It has an artificial support called emotion. So that in order to maintain the identity you've acquired, you have to judge. You have to be upset about stuff. And the key to that is resentment. The name of it is resentment. And the resentment is the means which animals don't have to enter a downward transcension. I can't find the right word. Transcendent state. Yeah, downwardly transcendent. So that it requires more and more upset to maintain the innocence of pride. See, because if you're really upset, you're innocent, you killed your conscience, and you feel superior to someone you're judging. That's all you need. And then if you judge people, that's playing God. But then if you turn around and felt guilty, like you've done something wrong, you've judged somebody who's upset you, they gave you the reason to be upset, to feel superior to them, it didn't work, you felt inferior, because the other guy got away with it and you didn't. So you feel inferior, and that inferiority has a guilt to it, and God can't feel guilty, so now God has to forgive. So between forgiving and judging, you're playing God. So when you're forgiving a person who's just got you, you think by loving him, you feel the guilt, but you misinterpret it. And you rise to the occasion to love the person you hate, hoping that he will love you back for your love, and all it does is nurture, meaning when you forgive him, all you do is give him a pass. When you give him a pass, he's worse off and he has more power over you. Goodbye, everybody. That's the end of your life. Any questions? I don't see anybody saying, I'd like to try a piece of bread.
I'd like to try this that went on the floor.
Huh?
Because I have, over the years, I've loved the message that, over the years I've loved the message that I've heard from you. And
Here. Don't touch, only her touch it.
But I know there's still something in there.
I know, I see it. It plays little games with me, you know that. I know you're a good woman.
I see it when thoughts go through my head and there's an anger about it. I see this thing kind of wrapping its fist, so I know it's in there. And all the years before, I've only come to this point where, I'm willing to believe that, oh my God, there is something in there, only now.
I gotta take a drink, I'm sorry. I feel better now, thank you.
I'll look in the mirror and I'll see just a very stern expression and hard, hard.
But you put a sweet surface on it.
Expression. I know, and I don't want to do that. I want.
Eat the bread.
I want I want to be done with that. I don't want to stay in a state where I want to believe that I'm a nice person. That I want to believe that there's nothing.
Let me intercede there. Basically, you're a decent person, but something is entangled.
Right. I'm willing to believe now at this point that I have been carrying around something in there that can be messing me up to the degrees that it does mess me up, you know, with not only who I work with, but my kids, and anybody, you know, friends, anybody that I could.
You've always developed the person. You're like Tony Snow. You are without fault, and sweet, and honourable, and do your best. But it's only a mirage. It's only illusion. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help. So that's not the bread.
No, I know, and I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that, and I believe that there is something else having its way.
Yeah, but you need to eat that bread.
Okay.
You know, the reason why is because bread is planted the suggestion. But this is the bread of redemption. Eat this remembering me. It's not just an ordinary memory. It's a transference. When Adam eats the fruit, you know, knowing that there's something wrong with that, but choosing the life of pride and judgment, he does so with full knowledge of forethought.
And so this bite is the full knowledge and forethought of not wanting
The
that.
reverse of that is the bread of redemption, which is when you understand it, when you grasp it, you're eating the food that reverses it. Eat that remembering Him. It's a very simple ritual, but it's beautiful. Come out, come out. Whatever's there needs to come out. Swallow it. You'll be all right. Something's happening, isn't it? See now, Marion, you're the chief cook and bottle washer here. You have actually, all this is passed through you. See? And your problem is showing outwardly. See, hers is inward. She doesn't want to be like you. Remember that, right?
That's right.
You don't want to be like her. So you put the best face over it, but you still have it. See? And you have a fear that you may become like that.
Yes, because it's with me every day. It's like, that's an example of, and I've even started to feel a little tremor, you know, a couple of years ago, and it's frightening. It is frightening.
Don't let it frighten you.
But I do watch that fear.
Yeah, that's good.
And I know to watch those things.
Marion, remember you had cancer once? That went away.
It
went away.
It did, because I was willing at that point to see some pretty important things about myself, you know.
And this is the rest of it. You'll be all right now.
I believe this process, and I'm so grateful for it. And thank you.
Now, everybody can, you know, you can believe Barack Obama if you have a mindset, right? But your nut is a fruitcake. Have you ever? I was watching last night Fox, and they interviewed people on the night of his inauguration where he won, and they went around asking what freedom was. Well, freedom is all kinds of stuff, but it's nothing to do with what freedom really is. It's freedom to have a nice house, and you know, to get money from the government, and you know, and go whoopee 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 whoopee, and you get drunk or something. And it's amazing that these are the kind of people that follow him. Make short work of them in the revolution. Or maybe I can wake them up. Because they're so damn suggestible. See? But so half the country is nuts. But the other half of the country does not know how to deal with what's nuts. So there's a danger that they will become nuts. See? Or they will, so that the people who are nuts will be emboldened because we don't know how to deal with them. And therefore there could be a war and we lose. That's why I say we need noble people, people who are constitutionally minded, spiritually minded, need what I have. This is a sane discussion about stuff, and it has and it does not veer from the Christian principle, does it? Bread, wine, eating. But look at the difference. When you see people lining up for their sacrament, is it the sacrament of the wafer? I think some of those people, it's the first food they've had for a week. Yeah, they're lining up for a swig of wine. Yeah, want to? Sit. Come and sit. So, what made you want to sit here?
I've been having trouble I was having trouble with food that I didn't know I was having trouble with until I had my blood drawn.
Are you
And-
diabetic?
No, I just had high cholesterol, my triglycerides were through the roof, and so I started changing my diet, but I knew I needed to before I even did all that.
Yeah.
Something was saying the stuff I was eating was wrong.
Yeah.
So I did that and started eating raw vegetables and fruits and
Good.
getting away from the other food that I was eating. And, like 3 months went by, nothing changed. It went down a little bit, and then another 3 months it went back up. And so I was like,
Yeah.
right, well
It's
then
here.
now it totally dropped. I started, like I was stressing about it, but then I stopped stressing about it, and I just
You mean stop
ate.
struggling with it.
Yeah.
That's the
And then
correct word.
it went down. I started exercising and just eating right, or eating differently. Not when
Is
you
the mindset
said
change?
when you
Is the
when you
mindset
said
change?
about the fruit of the good and evil, we have a choice. Like all of a sudden, it popped in my head of the food that was so tempting to the food that we really need for our bodies to work.
See the word food tempts, and there's the word tempt. And when it tempts, it pulls on that which corresponds to tempt. And it is a living thing, but the food, it sits there passive, but there's something acting through it that makes it tempt. It's not the food that tempts, it is what's behind it. For instance, if you have an alcoholic, sometimes you see an alcoholic who's really an alcoholic talking to his bottle, as if it was his friend. Something behind that. Why would you talk to a bottle? He's not really talking to the bottle, he's talking to what is the bottle is transmitting to him. It says, drink me. Are we all understanding these things? Anybody feel the impulse to, or do you feel something moving in you as I'm talking to you about this, as you're watching? You're my friend? You okay?
Yeah, I feel a little fear in my stomach. And I've experienced this before, and it starts in the base of the stomach, and it goes up to the solar plexus.
Yes, something's coming up.
And then
You might want to have something. It's up to you if you want to step forward later. We've got to be voluntary. Mary, you got a little thing you need to.
Same description as his.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like tightness.
Well, you're a man. Why don't we have a swig? This'll work. It says, eat this, drink, eat this. I'm not going to give you a whole lot when I drink it myself when I get home. But it says, drink this, remembering me. But do you see the mindset it takes to drink this? You know what I'm trying to say? It's not just wine anymore. It is a transference of loyalty. Everybody's different.
I feel all right, but like when you were saying
Of
that, I
course you
was
feel right.
thinking
There's
of
a lot of alcohol there.
it reminded me of Jesus before I drank it for what he's done for us.
Do you think something's changed in you?
I've changed quite a bit in the past couple years.
Do you feel you're different now?
Yeah, I feel like that little bit of pressure in my chest is lightened. And I thank you for, thank God for you.
It doesn't have to be dramatic. Yeah, oh, you can pass this on. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It could be very great. I think it'll be just fine. You want to?
He told me a long time ago that I needed to suffer. And that's what happened to me. I had a knee operation, and I got the shingles as a result. They say the shingles is from anxiety. And it put me in a very deep depression. And what it did is it brought me to see what's really important. And like you said about people, now I look at people in the street and I see them and I think, you just don't realize the health problems that you're going to have and the misery that you bring upon yourself by not eating wisely.
You keep eating the forbidden fruit. And even if you're a health nut, if you think food can save you, it can't. It's what it represents and what it
feeds.
Pardon?
What it feeds.
What it feeds?
Yes, because the good food, if you take it pridefully, will feed your pride.
Even good food
Right.
could make you prideful. Because I'm eating a good diet, I'm doing my exercise, but that is simply, you say, the food's saving you. The food can't save you. It's an idea connected to it.
It's what you draw from the food.
Yeah,
But it's not the food itself. It's you're drawing it from some other place.
That's right.
Some dark spot that saves you from seeing what's really happening.
What's your question?
You know, I've had a few occurrences where something that didn't belong in me left, and sometime later I'd find myself open the refrigerator door or something, and like, what am I looking at? I'm not hungry. It's like there's an emptiness that needs to be filled, but I should not do anything the wrong way to fill it. Like having a sandwich or having when I'm not hungry, you know?
Yeah.
And yet that temptation can come where you try to fill that emptiness. Like,
especially at night before you go to bed or in the middle of the night. You get up.
Yeah, it's kind of...
you're diabetic.
Yes, I am.
And so maybe there's some connection here.
Oh yeah, well the biggest temptation is in the grocery store. It's not in the refrigerator, it's in the grocery store, and really it's watching yourself when you're walking through there, not to pick up something that you think you need.
But it's calling you.
Yeah, it's calling me.
It's calling
you know, alcohol for years has called me, and it's like that pull, because I was traumatized more with liquids than I was with food. And I remember being yelled at a couple times and then giving something to drink to soothe my anxiety. And it was always a chocolate milkshake or a soda or something like that.
But when you walk past those bottles,
yeah,
a particular bottle will pull you.
Well,
it's almost like something's behind those bottles as you're going along.
It's kind of like if I could write it down, I could probably remember it, but it's sort of like a depression that will relieve a depression or fill something in me that'll make me more alive. And often I'll go to a store and walk by it, and I'm very grateful that there's no pull. Over the years, it's become less and less of a pull. I like to make wine. I've been okay at making it, but I always end up pouring it out because
Well,
I
send it
can't.
to me, I'll drink it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, my problem is I'll have a glass of it, but I'll want another glass, and that's the thing about it. My dad was an alcoholic, and I was blamed
that's
for his
interesting.
drinking when after I was 2, he was out of my life, and my mother and my grandmother kind of picked on me because my grandmother really zeroed in on me because my dad wasn't around to hate. And so I was basically I was the oldest, and it was like I was the one that was basically the sins of my father where I was the father that they hated. And so I really got projected upon. And the first
Sure.
time I ever drank, when I was about 8 years old, I got drunk. And so, and because I was
You
blamed
never
for
told me
somebody-
this before.
Yeah, well, I was blamed for being an alcoholic
When you weren't.
when I was very small.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything my dad was, every feeling he had, got dumped on me.
Oh, this is a good thing.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't at the time.
But you never told me these things before.
Well,
You've always-
I've mentioned in different
no,
ways.
but
to you.
but you never
Yeah.
really said all these
Yeah.
things.
But it was just basically, my brother was treated differently. He was the special kid. I was the black sheep or whatever, and that's so.
And why were you? I can tell
Well,
you.
you told me I was more aware.
Yeah,
But-
you had a little sparkle in your
Yeah.
life, and when you come into the world, now listen, who do you think in Germany were the most scary of people of all? It's the Jewish people,
Yeah.
because the Germans terrified of their brightness.
Yes, and they had the positions of power at the time because they were the brightest people.
Yeah.
And they were resented because of it.
But the trouble, the Jewish people didn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah. They were too nice.
But the Jewish people in Israel are the smallest country in the world, 7 million people. They're surrounded by 1.5 billion people. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But they're still scared of them.
Hmm. They represent.
Why do they hate them? They haven't done anything wrong. They're not aggressive. No, these people that hate them are evil.
The reason why
They
they
hate
hate
the
them.
good. They're frightened of the good. They got to get rid of the good.
It's the memory when you talked about remembering me with the food. It's like the Jews are like the food to the Arabs. They won't partake of it because the Jews remind them of what they could be.
Yes.
And it embarrasses them.
But you did too.
Yeah.
You were like the Jewish
Yeah,
person.
I was.
You come
I was
into this
really,
world
when
where
I
you
was,
have a lot of Nazis.
When I was very young, I spoke my mind, and it was like I was at this school playground, and it was like a preschool before kindergarten. They'd send all the kids down there to get to know the other kids, and there was a couple counselors, and I told people to their face what I thought of them, and the other kids, older kids, got together and they said, "If you don't shut up, we'll bring a needle and thread to school and sew your mouth up." And so I just laughed at them, and one day they showed up with a needle and thread. And I somehow, I remember that moment with giving in to the fear when I knew I didn't have to. It was something that I just kind of.
But it has affected you.
Yeah, it has. Well, I don't think that was the one trauma that actually.
But you understand how
changed me. Yeah.
easily kids are programmed.
Sure.
How easy kids are programmed in the class so that one kid come in that's bright as he can be, and the whole class turns against him.
Oh yeah, and I
because
had
of what
that.
the teacher's
I had that
done.
all through school. Yeah.
And so what we got is now, in a sense, Obama schools, where people are bright and they look like the enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But right now I have the understanding to where if that
Terrorists.
happens, it's like, okay, I'm not going to take it personally.
You know what? You should be getting. I know you have type 1 diabetes.
Yeah, I do.
That's supposed to be curable.
Yes.
I say it's curable.
I do believe that is true. It's you still have to walk a thin line to get there.
Well,
in a sense, in
but
your diet.
It could be this.
Yeah.
So you have to be ready to step forward to it, not because I'm now embarrassing
I'm
you.
willing to try it. I am.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't like failure. I'm
No,
a fear of
I know.
failure.
Something in me.
I'm very careful here. But you're not going to be my failure. You have something in you.
At least you're not like a doctor, bury your mistakes.
No, I don't. They come back for more. Eat that remembering Him. Yeah, you feel it, don't you? You feel it. See, as you eat it, it becomes part of you in a different way. You needed that. You needed that. What do you feel?
Feel calmer, quieter.
No exorcism?
This time.
All right, maybe not necessary.
But I noticed.
Here, let me get you drunk so we can have a nice exercise.
My hand, when I'm trying to meditate, it goes numb. Feels like
No, the mistake you're making. You're trying too hard. What you're doing, so this is where you're stuck. I said no effort. You've put effort into it. And what you've done is produce glove anesthesia, meaning you're going to force your attention to something to the point like you're pushing your will into your hand, in this particular case. And then I could stick a needle through that and you wouldn't feel it. That's how you can go to a dentist and have your teeth removed, but you have to be very suggestible to do that. But that basically is like a hypnotic state. So that if you're in a hypnotic state, I can't make you well. If you put effort into it, you get in the way of God's acting through you. Because the minute you take the role of you trying to save yourself, and you're going to will yourself into a meditative state, what you do is will yourself into a hypnotic state. And that's why you keep coming, because you know something's wrong, and you're not quite making it. You know, I drank out of this glass. That may make it better. I'm not going to give you a whole lot just to make sure you don't get drunk. You drink out of that. Now you drink that with the idea that you've been forgiven, and you remember that. That's the whole thing. What you need is the forgiveness. And that forgiveness has been waiting before you drink it. That has been waiting, so that the food and drink you eat does not have the same effect as it did before. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Then drink it then, with that understanding. Now you close your eyes for a minute. You close your eyes and look at your eyelids. Now, I say, your eyes feel stuck, don't they?
all you see is black.
That's not good. Now, do your eyes feel stuck together when I say so? You can't open them, right? Right. Go to sleep. You're in a hypnotic state. Your head's getting heavier. Fall forward. Yeah. So we need to come out of that hypnotic state, don't we? Now look, it's very hard to get out of that chair. Actually, you don't want to get out, but try. See if you can. It's hard. It's hard, isn't it?
No, I think I can get out.
You kidding? Okay. Is your eye still stuck? Yeah. Yes. You're in a hypnotic state, and I haven't gone all the way to finish it off. But just keep your eyes closed. Now, put your hand by your side. Be aware of the right hand. Now, I want you to look at your eyelids, and you can see that you can step back from thought, right? So there's no thought in your mind, but you may see black. There needs to be light. That's what's wrong. There's no light in your head. And I believe you've been following mechanically. You're basically a decent person, but you've been following me mechanically. So you're in a deep hypnotic state, but you don't belong to me. And you don't belong to God yet. And so that you've been going about this wrong. So now, I want you to be aware of that right hand, and I want you to feel the tingling in your first finger. Can you feel it? That's good. No effort. No effort. Promise? Just be aware of it. Promise? Now, feel the tingling of the first finger? Okay, now, move the attention to the next finger and feel the tingling. And the next finger, and the next finger, and look at the middle of your forehead. Now, can you see an outline of your hand with your mind's eye where it actually is not an image? Can you see the spiritual arm within the physical arm? Can you see the outline of it even with your eyes closed? Without imagination. But you can actually... I want you to do something. Wave your arms around you above your head. Just that same arm. Wave it above your head. See if you can see an image of that. Can you see an image of that hand? Good. And put your arm down. So actually you can see your spiritual arm. That's what you're looking at. If your arm wasn't there, if you cut off your arm, you'd still see that. That's the spiritual arm. You can't pick up anything, but it's still there. See that? So when your body dies, that's what's left, is the spiritual self. And it doesn't belong to this world, but the spiritual self that belongs to the world is death. You understand that? Now, so be aware of the first finger and the second finger. Can you do the drill? Tell me when it's to the little finger.
Little finger.
Is it not? Your whole hand is tingling, isn't it?
Yes.
Now I want you to feel the arm and sort of command it to get light. Sort of like turn the tingling fingers, the tingling in the fingers into a motion upwards. See if you can do that. Just sit quietly and let the arm come up by itself. The whole idea is just to be aware of the arm coming up, as if you've commanded it, and just waiting for it to get a little lighter. Do you feel that? Just that little bit. Yeah, let it come up. And be looking to the middle of your forehead, greet it. Greet it as that place, like you're saluting God. And while you're doing that, the democratic countries, the God-fearing countries, salute with the right hand to the middle of the forehead. And that's respect. The fascist countries, they stretch their arm out as if to say to God, up your nose with the rubber hose. See that? A defiance. Be aware of that hand rising. Come on, rise. That's good. Breathing changes. Breathe. There it comes. Come on. Because you're producing energy in that hand that's driving out darkness. It's light. Can we keep doing it? You're doing fine. Keep doing it. You see it driving out something. Light's coming in, pushing darkness out. That's what it's doing. Go on. Up it comes. Up it comes. Up it comes. Come on. Come on. Up. Be aware of the middle of your forehead and see it coming towards you. Higher. Up it comes like a warm air lifting it. Okay, that's it. So something's happening here. Keep doing it. Something's happening. Up it comes. You are actually getting control. You're getting control. Now this is the way it should have been done before. You're going to be fine. Come on, keep doing it. Don't stop. Right hand. Up it comes. It's driving something out. Come on, let's do it again. Keep going. Keep going. Keep coming. Up it comes. Oh, come. Up it comes. Obey. Obey you. Obey you. Not me. Obey you. Obey the light in you. Up it comes. Up it comes. Come on. Up. Up. Come on. Towards your forehead. Salute. Come on. Up. Come up. And all the emotions come out. Up. Up it comes. Head falling forward towards the meat. Head falling forward. Up. Let the hand come up. Keep it coming. 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 Coming. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Touch your head and complete the circle with God. There. Done. There it is. You drove out the dark spirit. Now the bread's doing good. Why do I know all this stuff? I'm going to eat some myself. Got to be light-hearted.
So really, Roy, what I said at the beginning of the talk, when, if you eat with a thankful heart, when you just poo-pooed that, it really is in remembrance. It's a different attitude. It isn't kind of a self-righteous, oh, I'm thankful for this food. It's this.
The changing of
every time you put something in your mouth.
Absolutely. After a while, it'll be natural. You don't have to think of it.
Yeah.
It's part of it. But in the beginning, it does the transference is most noticeable. The new state, like going to Hawaii, it's very nice. The scenery is beautiful. After a while, you get used to it.
Otherwise, I can see it's just such a self-righteous thing.
Yeah. See, when you see people sitting at the table and saying, "Bless this food, O Lord," and then it's just they mutter a few things and eat. That don't mean anything. How you feel?
Better.
Better. See, what you did is meditate, but you didn't hypnotate. See the difference? Yeah. You want to say something?
I don't think I would have a lot of respect for myself if I didn't try this. I've been a really hateful person all my life. Judged a lot of people.
Yeah, see, there it is. Just a piece of bread. The original sin was just a piece of fruit. But it meant disconnect from God.
I just want to say that I'm sorry.
You're forgiven. You're forgiven. That's all you needed to be. That's the end of it.
It's just, I just carry around this hate all the time, and I look at people through a prism of hate all the time. Thank you. I know I'm better than this. I'm starting to wake up, but this other part of me is not right. It's flawed.
Give me that. Eat another bite.
Pardon?
Eat some more. And chew it. Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't like
Okay,
that. Yeah.
I
It's the
know.
bread. It's just the bread that. Look, remember, in the state you have with me is not the state you have with it. You're transferring a state I have with me, but then it isn't me. So you're safe.
Yeah.
You don't know anything to me. See that I told you this bread and wine stuff is interesting. I'm glad you brought it because I kept forgetting.
I'm okay.
You okay now?
Yeah.
The anger's gone, isn't it? You're forgiven, so now you can stop judging people, which is really anger, isn't it?
If I thank you so much. Thank you.
You want that?
I just knew I couldn't have any respect for myself. I was protecting it. And I can't be a spokesman for it anymore. And I'm tired of going home and telling my husband what other people have done to me, acting like a victim all my life. I mean, I've got to be better than this. I'm just wrong, you know. I've just been wrong.
But you've been repressed as a kid.
I'm very repressed.
But I'm unrepressing you. I have the power to unrepress you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's wonderful, it's freedom. That's
Thank
what
you so much.
You can't live in a free country and not open your mouth. Otherwise you contribute to the downfall of everything, including yourself. What time is it? Good Lord. Good Lord, time goes past so quickly, doesn't it?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. There you go.
May I come forward?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Because you're too quiet too.
Yes.
You're too quiet means suppressed and means oppressed. Suppressed means oppressed.
Okay.
See that, don't you?
Yes. Yeah. As a child, when Tim spoke today, he added things that he's never said before. I've known him for 20 years. And I too was put down and punished for speaking my mind. And I just talked to people. I remember I used to love talking to girls when I was a little kid.
Oh, no wonder.
And talk to them about what I saw and how things were.
Oh, that's better.
And the pain of having parents who didn't love you. But it frightened them. And I remember parents even at one time when this young lady who I spoke to quite a bit had to move. And I was at their door and I had talked to her and she was inside, but her mother was encompassing her, hugging her. And the child wasn't protected anymore. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Her mother spoiled her.
Yes.
And put the worst in her and nurtured that worst by what looks like love.
But what came to me after a while was the hate.
The shaking there's the shaking as you talk.
Yes, this has come out of me in the last few months, the shaking. The hate is what I have used in this side of my body, stored it and used it. I have worked out of hate. I have stressed my right side of my body continually until I damaged it physically.
Why the right side? Why the right side?
Because I could force things from there. I was always forced that I was
That
using.
side worked better than the other.
Yes.
Here's more trick. So I can do my tricks on one side of the body, but I can't do it the other. I'm not ambidextrous.
But what I came to see was that, I think it was a week ago, I went to my friends who I live with, Tim and Bernie and Brenda, and I confessed what a user I am of comfort and their agreement and their excuses that I used and took and excused my own behavior and how I've lived this life of needing people's approval so I could feel good about myself and yet hate myself.
But look what a slave you've become.
That is the truth.
There's no freedom unless you have freedom of speech. Isn't that the First Amendment?
Yeah.
And the Second Amendment protects it. So if you have the courage to speak up with the First Amendment, and then the tyrant doesn't like it, your government, meaning, and that's the ultimate, then you've got the Second Amendment to make sure they do like it. And don't you ever forget that. All right, now.
Well,
so do we, I didn't know we were going to have so many people. Can I have some of this when I take it home with me?
No sugar.
Well, there's all kinds of sugar in this.
No, not in that. That's sprouted grain. There's no sugar. There's lots of
You're
fiber.
kidding.
No,
There's such a thing?
Yeah.
But it's cooked.
It's cooked.
Now see what happens to you when you swallow it. See what's happening to you? Look. Now swallow. You're forgiven. Speak up.
oh, God. Oh. I've abused everything. I've abused my body in every way that God told me not.
Yeah, because they need the pleasure.
Yeah, the pain. The pain of just driving from one place to another, being by myself and thinking that nothing ever was going to help me or change me.
But that's not true. You listen to the lie. You believe the lie, that's why you kept in that state.
Yes.
I was talking with a young friend of mine about that. Doesn't pay, does it?
No.
To believe the wrong things.
No. It creates all the physical ailments. Even now I'm feeling a pressure here.
Do you know why? Would you like to tell me? Would you like me to tell you why?
Yes.
Because human beings stand between two pressures. One, the pressure of good, and the other one that pressures you away from it. And you surrender to that, not understanding it by being angry and coming into the world and finding the people standing over you.
This is the thing.
I'm a
I've
good
felt
example.
like I've just crawled. I have never stood. I've always been a creature.
And not the creator.
Yes.
Creature-oriented, not
God-centered.
Not God-created.
No.
Look. Shake.
Yes.
Why are you shaking?
I saw once in the mirror the thing that wanted me dead.
Always remember, the excuse you make is the thing that empowers the thing that wants you dead. And anybody who rises to the occasion of your needs, like Obama and his communist group, compadres, they want you dead. They're in the business of degrading you and demoralizing the country. and they get off on it. There's certain kinds of people all behind them. There's a whole world of people that wants you dead. And eventually, through your own demoralizations over the years, have no tolerance for innocence. But that you have only the tolerance for the very spirit that's been working through the various governments over the years, the administrations, to produce a whole nation of weak, dependent people on other people's money. So you elect a politician sort of to make sure you keep getting it, because you have no incentive of your own, nor do you wish to have an incentive. You want to be served. And therefore, in a sense, you're in the plantation in a different kind of way. See
That's
that?
what was put in me, the need to be served.
Yeah. And then your servitude is to get others to serve you, but it doesn't work. It backfires.
No.
They take advantage of you. And then the guilt, it triggers a guilt syndrome.
Yes.
So they guilt you into going along, which is kind of fits into the behavior you've been programmed and you can't stop. Yeah.
And the hate that follows all of it.
But the hate also makes you more empty of God. It separates you further from God, and makes you subservient to the other person to give you what he. But instead of giving you, he takes.
Yes.
But it looks like he's giving you something. It's only just noise.
But there's that smile that you always see. You know that you've been used. That they have taken from you.
Yeah, they little.
That glint.
Ah, yeah, I got you. Right.
Yeah. And this is what you just spoke about, the Obama people. This
They're
is what
all
you
like
get
that.
to see in them.
They're feeding on our country.
And our nation is
And
dying.
they're feeding their little creeps, called, they're what they call them, the unions.
Yes.
Yeah, they're the generals. They're the generals of the Obama army addicted to our money, and they're rewarded with money more so than those who get less on welfare. So there's a whole system of things. Dark side, this sort of dark army from hell. But we've all been part of thinking that when we give to poor people, we're a noble people. And when we give to other nations, we think we're noble people because look how much we love them. They have contempt for us because we give them things without showing them how to be independent. And that's a form of slavery, and they take it, but with contempt, because whatever the choice they've got, they're continuously dependent on you. You've given them a taste of a good life, but you haven't given them the gift of how you get it for yourself.
Well, it's not gracefully accepted, it's an entitlement.
Yeah, so it becomes that way. You have to have it because you have no way of getting it for yourself your whole life. You haven't learned how to make a living, how to catch a fish. You don't know anything. So you're obedient to your tyrants. You have a love-hate relationship with your tyrants.
Oh.
See that? Same as what you got.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sit down. Oh, well. Well, yeah.
I'm only going to get bread if I go up there. I need it.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean to say it's going to do you any good just because you need it.
No.
Because you look like you have a little overweight, and so you may be a little bit.
Gosh, look at the floor.
Huh? Oh, yeah, look at that. What a waste. I'll eat it later.
Okay, sugar. I can't seem to get rid of this craving for sugar. And someone gave me a nice bunch of apples from their tree. And even when I eat those, because I know that's better for me, all I can think is this sweet. They're so sweet. And it's not, there's something.
Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. That will kill you. That's killing you. See, you have forces pulling on you, external forces. See, and there's a receptor inside you that is compatible with that. That's the thing is, you can't say no to it.
I remember when I was a little girl, it always jumped out in my mind. My mother took me to the doctor with her, and on the way back we stopped at this soda fountain and had a milkshake. And there was something about this milkshake that tied me to her, you know. It's like we had a connection.
So you're too close to your mother.
I wasn't supposed to tell
No, yeah, that's right. It's too close to your mother, right? You have your mother's identity. Is your mother still alive?
But my mother was like a child. I always tried to protect
You
her.
had to be her parent.
Yeah.
That's not healthy.
I couldn't.
That's not
be close
healthy.
to my dad because he molested my sisters and I all our lives, so I couldn't connect with him. But my mom was like a kid; she couldn't read or write, and
So you protected her
I was
from
her
your dad.
favorite.
But you protected her.
So what's that?
Well, you've identified with her. You've rejected your father, and you've got the original sin through your mother.
I never
The
felt
original
like I
sin.
identified with her.
Pardon?
I never felt like I identified with her because I felt like I was the parent and had
Well,
to
that's
take
but
care of her.
I know, but you became her, and she becomes you. You never had a childhood, did you? And then you resent that. Do you resent
I
that?
just see my children have suffered. I have 7 children.
Your children
And they've all suffered. And
from
my
you.
grandchildren. I'm a great-grandmother now. And I see they're all going to suffer too, my great-grandchildren even. I just don't want to keep on with it. I want it to stop.
Well, let me give you a little piece of this. Just try this first. Then we go to phase 2. Now, do you understand God's forgiven you? Have you recognized that?
I think he
you're not
has.
co-
He's been very gracious to me.
I know, but
that.
you're not sure of that. You know why you're not sure? You're not completely sure
I
of
know
it.
my faith isn't what it should be.
No, it isn't. So let's take care of that first. All right? Have you ever meditated?
Yeah, a long, long time ago.
But
It
you
was
did-
very hard for me.
Yeah. Let's do it again. Put your right hand by your side. Yeah. Close your eyes. What do you see when you close your eyes? What do you actually see? Because there's actually seeing involved. There's a special kind of seeing when you look at your eyelids. There's a special kind of seeing when you look at thoughts. The thoughts are images that are lit up from the inside, otherwise you couldn't see them. Then you have to ask yourself what is doing the seeing. Correct? If you can see thought. So there's a light inside you, and when you close your eyes, that light should play on your eyelids.
It just seems kind of gray, though.
Yeah, that's emotion does that. But look at the middle of your forehead. Be aware of the middle of your forehead as you look at your eyelids. It's easy.
I just can't seem to get up there.
Yeah. Can't get there? All right, I'll tell you what you do. Let me tell you what to do. Out of my way. Look. With your eyes closed, follow my finger up. See where my finger is, my thumb? No, with your eyelids closed, follow me up with your eyes. So, but leaving your eyelids closed. See? And what happens, your eyes will flicker. And they will begin, by the time I reach the middle of your forehead, they'll be stuck together. You can't open if you're doing it right, you can't open your eyes while you're looking upwards. See if that's possible. See if that's true. You can't open your eyes, can you? Is that true? Yes or no? See, the eyes are stuck together, is that correct? Say yes or no.
Yes.
Good. Now, follow now, I'm going to touch the middle of your forehead very lightly, so you can barely feel it, and follow with your eyeballs. Follow it down, and your eyes will still be stuck together. See if that's true. Okay? Say yes or no. Feel the eyes. It's hard to open your eyes now, isn't it? Okay, now, is it true? Yes or no? hard to open your eyes. Correct?
Mhm.
Okay, now, feel the warmth of my hand. Feel the warmth of my hand where it is.
Mhm.
Follow. I'm going to move it away. Follow it with your. Follow the warmth of my hand with your forehead, so your head falls forward. Follow it. Good. Keep doing it. Follow it. Follow it, falling forward. Come on. Follow it. Follow the heat. Follow the heat. Follow it. So your head gets heavy. Follow it. Follow it. Follow that. Falling forward, falling. Just feel the weight of your head. Just become conscious of your whole head. So it becomes heavier. Go ahead, follow it. Do it. Follow it. Okay. Can I open your eyes?
You want me to open my eyes?
No, I said, can you open your eyes?
Mhm.
Yeah. Can't do anything with you right now.
What's that?
Can't do much for you now.
What will it take?
Another day?
Another day? Is that
Take-
another time?
One more try. Now you've heard me talk about this. I shouldn't have to say any more. See, the whole idea is to separate, to get your consciousness separate from your thoughts. I've got to separate the two of you. You can't be involved in your thinking, and expect it to be saved. Can't do it. The salvation comes from the soul drifting back so that you're no longer a double-minded person. So you're tangled with the thoughts. You can't receive God there. So I have to get you to move your consciousness back. And that, if you're not ready to do that, you can't do it. If you're not ready to give your life up to what is greater than yourself, I can't do that. You got to meet him halfway. You understand that?
I do.
Does the bread help you? What does it feel? You understood what I talk about food, how it goes to different place.
Oh, I know. I had 3 surgeries this past year, and I know that it's connected to that, the sugar especially.
Of course. Okay, well, you didn't feel any different with the bread.
How about the wine?
Meet you after the show. Sit down. I can't help you. I can't help you today. All right. Now, see, I'm not like your usual preacher, and I know that Jesus wasn't a stiff, walking around and being. I'm sure he had a wonderful sense of humor, and but people love him. Can't love a somber person. Everything's all business. Yes?
I need some bread.
You need some help? Come up. See, some people are not ready. So all I'm talking is a block of wood. I'm talking to a block of when you're not ready. When you're ready, I think you are. So, do I need to give you the song and dance? I don't have to, do I?
That's the bread of life.
It is, because I've touched it. It's not the same. I represent that. So it isn't the same. It's a real thing, because food has a connection through the centuries to everybody. That's why women make the food, and they pass the food on. They enjoy making the food and making the husband enjoy it, or even hate them for it. It works the same way. It's always a food connection. Okay. How do you feel? It's having its effect, isn't it? See, with this, comes salvation. This is just a piece of bread, but it's not the forbidden fruit. It's the desired fruit. So you can actually eat almost anything. It doesn't have to be cooked, really. But the point is, it's better for you. You see what I mean? Now He's forgiven you. That's what it means, the bread of forgiveness. Is eat me, eat this, remembering me. And then it is your blood. When you eat that food, it turns into blood. You understand that? We have a different condition here. I wonder if psychiatrists understand this thing. They don't, do they? You have any confession?
I was taught to be nice. And the past 2 years, I've grown more and more. But I'm still not honest. I'm still not honest.
In what way?
I don't tell people the truth. I don't tell them they're idiots, and they are.
I do a wonderful job every day on my radio show.
And I have a food issue.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
But I'm so tired of being emotional over my husband's death, Roy. I want to be a real person again.
How long has he been dead?
5 months.
Well, now let me ask you, if you love your husband?
Yes.
Well, if you were dead and your husband was alive, would you like him to grieve forever?
No.
Well, then why don't you respect your husband? Do you think if he loves you, did he love you? Well, then say, you know what he's saying to you? Forget me, go on with your life. I'm in a good place. Grieving is artificial. You don't understand. Do you understand grieving is artificial? Like you love him, you have to grieve.
I don't know what grieving is. I never was like this before.
Well, you're a bit too attached to him.
Yeah.
That's not good. Maybe that's why he's dead.
I think it is.
No, I don't mean to be rude.
No,
but you could be too much. You could suck off him too much.
I think so.
What did he die from? Cancer or heart attack?
Both.
Double whammy.
See, well, you
and
help.
he said one time he told me, he said, you're going to die of cancer. And then one time he said, you're really making progress. And he said, she's going to get cancer. You're right in both cases.
Feel a little better now.
I'm going to be okay.
I think the bread did it.
I did so too.
Okay.
What do I do with that? You want that?
Eat the rest of it. It's good for you.
Thank you, Roy. Thank
See,
you.
these are relief valves. Nothing dramatic sometimes, but something sweet, right?
Right.
You know you've been forgiven?
I know.
So then,
And I don't think I'm going to be a crybaby anymore.
that's good.
Thank you.
Well, a lot of healing here today.
It's magic.
Question
I
is,
think my leg's healed.
pardon?
I twisted my knee and I'm not limping.
Oh, that's nice. I'm glad. Because your mind does a lot of things. Your mind can have a little pain in your leg and you start to worry about it. Pretty soon you've made it worse. It would have otherwise passed. Your body's always got little pains and aches appearing. And if you have lots of doubt, one of those will fixate on it. Oh, well.
But can't your mind tell you that bread can do good? I mean, isn't it your mind too?
Well, it's a combination of what I'm saying. Because when you hear me speak to people, I just handed the bread, but I could do more than hand them the bread. I'm actually undoing the programming of their subconscious. Because, you see, you got two minds. One is God's. See, how can I say this? When you come up here, and you're when you come up, when you're up here, and I'm talking to you, I'm a human being. So I'm talking to my monkey brain is talking to your monkey brain. See what I mean? Because that's the way we are. But because of something called faith, there's something deeper in me that you perceive.
Okay.
You've given me the power of two things. Remember Jesus says that when two or more are gathered in my name, there I am among them? But so if I'm in His name, then you've given me permission. I'm not forcing myself. Hypnotic states, the programming of sin is compulsive. In order to cause people to sin, all you have to do is to reproduce the harshness and cruelty of that person's life, and that spirit takes over everything. See, that's why you meet people, they look like your father, they look like your mother, they look like what the rapist did to you, and therefore, immediately that person who looks like it and is that way spiritually, they take control of everything, your mind and your body and spirit. Because the spirit. But I'm not saying with you now.
Yeah, I feel like there's nothing in control of me now.
Yeah, you're in good
He
shape.
was taking his.
You've been in good shape for a long
I
time.
was eating it too, and it was almost like I didn't need you to touch it.
Yeah, I get it.
It was,
doesn't have to.
It was like I was just eating it, but I did see that I was an innocent child, and I saw
All
that I
children are
had it
innocent.
back then.
You did.
Because my parents didn't know. They left me alone, kind of, to just find my way, and that's when the dark side came in, and I learned from teachers, and the words and everything got control of me.
Were you put in a room by yourself?
And I had a room by myself.
When you
I
were
had
very
two
small, when you shouldn't have had.
There were lots of times. I had my tonsils out with my sisters, and they were in beds, and they put me in a little tiny crib that was too small for me.
How old were you?
I was like 3, and they were waiting to get the bed for me. And I
Yeah,
ended up
but the
being
question
there.
is,
But I was
have you-
always the one that was like, my sisters had a room together, my brothers had a room together. I was by myself, but my parents, I was like, brought myself up myself. There was always a strong thing to be a good girl. Had to be a good girl. But that phony good girl got in there.
How did he do that?
Pleasing.
If you were yourself and
When
nobody was messing with you, and you were on your
Kids
own.
were messing with me.
The kids in school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
My son Mark says the worst thing wasn't so much the teachers, it was the kids.
Yeah. Well.
The broken kids.
Yeah.
When
Some
I was a young
teachers,
man,
too.
when I was little, the kids weren't like that. They had their little bullies and little things,
Yeah.
but they weren't as mean as they are today.
Because I can remember, saying I couldn't do something because my parents wouldn't let me. But my parents weren't there to say no. I was saying no. I was the parent inside of me saying no.
But what? Just being on your own doesn't do this.
At 10 years old, I remember I had to decide. Nobody was going to help me make decisions, and I had to decide myself.
That's good.
But I saw an image of that years later, and I saw me picking up this huge bag, and I thought, what is that? And it was my mother's spirit, and it was full of all the dark side. How did
that happen? So that does explain your relationship with your mother in some way.
Yeah.
Because that's not discussed yet. Because we got left alone, I got all kinds of little things that went around it, but all of a sudden you're talking about this bag of stuff, this baggage, and it represents your mother.
It was like the dark spirit.
Yeah, but
of her.
Yes.
To decide on everything. I had to decide on everything.
Oh.
Make my
but
own decisions.
The deciding wasn't the good thing.
Right, no, it wasn't a good thing. It was all from this dark spirit. I didn't realize
see,
that.
You see that Adam, when he ate the fruit, he becomes a decider.
And that's what I did. I became a decider in my head. And now as I'm waking up, I see...
What kind of decider do you like?
Huh?
No, I'm just kidding.
But now I see that working on me. It's like almost like old habits of me getting in
Try
the
to understand. Just one second. Try to understand that Adam becomes a decider of what good and evil is, so that in that state it's a fallen state. Therefore, as a king and judge, those who love him, those who look nice and love him, they are good, and those who don't agree with him, they are bad.
Both states are wrong.
Both states are wrong, and so because you reject the good people and you're always accepting the bad people, or you're accepting the good people that look good, but are not good. They're playing with you. And so every decision you make, and all your companions that you draw to you in the fallen state, that you decide this one's good, he can help me, and this one's bad. But maybe the good one is bad and the bad one is good. You can't tell. But you can see that on the left in America, the kind of people on the left hate the goodness of the right. You can see it clearly when you take the sluts. What's that lady who wanted all those contraceptives, like you had to buy them all, or she had to have sex every 3 minutes? She couldn't afford it. That's a whore, right? So they put this self-righteous whore and make a demand that she is impoverished. She hasn't got enough money to buy contraceptives, like weird stuff. And she's very confident and erudite and educated, as if she was the model of virtue. But Sarah Palin she's the slut. But the other one is the champion of the perverse. All the guys love that kind of woman. That's their kind of woman. Get it? See, but our country is divided upside down. We have to have a civil war. There's no choice. But each one of you needs to learn to be a warrior. And if each one of you learns to be a warrior, see, because you all shut up, and when you're dealing with those unreasonable, crazy people, the Obama people are crazy. They literally don't know what freedom is. Freedom is to take liberties with your freedom. They have a right to do it. That's the freedom. Don't you hold me back. Don't you put me a straight back jacket on my mean behavior. I want to steal. I want to do this. I want to be a slut. I want to be a whatever I want to be. I want to be free. I want to do my own thing. So that's a whole system there. You don't want them to come to power. They are, but not quite. At this point, there's a civil war brewing. And Obama has these people, control over these people, because they're crazy. He agrees with all that. He's their champion. He's their president. They have power. Got to be very careful about that. Because I've seen John Boehner. He's running scared. He's running scared. He doesn't know how to deal with, it's agree or something else. Agree or combat or compromise. Combat and compromise are both wrong choices. But Speaker Boehner does not know how to deal with that kind of pressure. He does not know how to stand and say, screw you, I'm standing my ground. And if this country goes down, it's your fault. See? Let it all be known. And back off. He hasn't got the balls. Excuse the expression. You can edit that out if you like.
It's true.
You need to deal with me. You need to put me in place of him. I'm an American citizen. Give me his job. I'd take care of that president like you wouldn't believe. He's easy as pie. He is so easy, you have no idea. And he is so damn weak, you have no idea. So what we got is a stupid government, stupid Republicans and wicked Democrats. I mean wicked. Harry Weid. Harry Weid.
I'm okay.
Good.
I'm really good. Thank you.
You're always okay, you're just fine. See that you all make decisions. And those decisions are egotistical. They're done without intuition. You decide this is right, it's right, and you do it, and if it's wrong, you get angry or you excuse it. Never get better. I never made a decision in my life. I don't have to make decisions. It's so clear what right is. How else would you do it? That's my whole life. So I shrink from what's wrong, and I do what's right. It's obvious. I have a light shining on it. It's not, that don't look right to me, boy. So I don't do it. But there's no effort. Why would I do that? Why wouldn't I do that? That's all there is. There is nothing else. I'm free. I'm free from responsibility. I'm not going to make any mistakes. I can't, even though it looks like a mistake, and I get into trouble for opening my mouth, and I go to jail. I get persecuted, or people don't like you. I'm okay with that. I come out smelling like a rose anytime. They ain't stopped me yet. They're not going to stop me. I've got a position. I'm 84 years old. I'm as tougher and stronger than I've ever been. Want to mess with me? Put me in jail? Go ahead. Want to shoot me? Great. I got to die anyway. Right? Well, you need to have the same attitude. You don't want to preserve it. Jesus says, who shall preserve his life? You know what he means by that. Preserve your silly, stupid little life. Shall lose it. Who shall give up that life for my sake shall save it. We're talking about the spiritual life, not just your miserable body that's going to fall apart of the grave and you can try to feed it and protect it and nourish it like it was some cow or bull on a farm. All it's going to do is to be fit for the slaughter. Well, I think we had a nice session today, did we not? And I shall take this and get drunk tonight. I shall celebrate.
That's why you didn't use it very much. I get it. The bread goes stale.
You all feel better?
Yes.
There's some quiet people here, though. Quiet is always suspicious. Now, some people are quiet, and they're tall, dark, and gruesome. And some tall, dark, and noble. I know a certain young man who fixes my cars, and he's gentle. He's like, I don't know, I can't remember, Sergeant York, who played the role of Sergeant? Yeah, Gary Cooper. He plays the gentle part. He doesn't want to hurt anybody, right? He's my mechanic, and his name is Gracious. It fits his name. And I trust him. He just gives me the bill. I never have to worry. See? But he looks frail. He's lanky, a little bit frail. He's not. You don't want to mess with that guy. You can see a hurricane. But he looks sweet and gentle. He is sweet and gentle. He's also strong. You won't see that side until you don't want to mess with his family. See that? But some of the liberals are so liberal that if somebody comes and says, I want to kill your family, he says, okay, we want peace with you, just do what you like. That's the attitude. They don't believe in war. Well, if you don't believe in war, if some man comes into the house and wants to kill your family, you've got to believe in war. You should see the armament I got at night sitting there. Looking forward to it. No, you understand, looking forward to it. I don't mean to hurt anybody, but my attitude is always, I don't care if there's a whole gang, people coming. I don't look for a fight, it looks for me. And all of a sudden they got a tiger by the tail. I don't care how many there are. I've got some interesting stories to tell you.
Boy, no bragging.
No bragging, that's right. But I won't tell you them tonight. But she's seen them all. That's why you love me, don't you, Anne?
Behave yourself.
Thank you very much.